Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So unfortunately, the run stopped today, meaning we had a pretty good 2 weeks of up for Bitcoin. A little fear today because the Justice Department had a random press conference. People were wondering what's going on. But besides that, the U.S. market tanked. But besides that, we have to worry about the debt ceiling and how the U.S. may default on its debt for the very first time in history. So today is not so good, but Bitcoin is still holding good, holding well. So let's talk about everything that's going on today and how we should prepare for tomorrow. So let's get started. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Let me change my screen here. So take a look. You got a lot of people. You guys saw my thumbnail. Janet Yellen's been saying this for days. It's funny I say days. It should be weeks or months, right? But somehow we let something this important carry on until the very last day. And that is tomorrow. Thursday, okay, we have this debt ceiling of $31.4 trillion with the T. Tomorrow is the last day to raise that debt ceiling. And if we don't, absolutely, we're talking about Armageddon. We're talking about total disaster, something that the U.S. has never, ever gone through, and hopefully never does, because I'll explain why this will be absolute train wreck if Congress does not approve another ceiling raise, okay? So today, a lot of people were talking about it at Davos, the finance and tech CEOs. Everyone is saying, 2023 is looking better. We anticipate, the economy doing better, but everyone's worried about this one last thing, and that's tomorrow, right? Again, why wait until the last day? I don't know. Okay, so in case you're not aware, the U.S. government operates on a deficit. It spends more money than it earns. And it has been doing this, I don't know how long, but for a very, very long time. Okay? This is why inflation is an issue, because inflation actually helps the U.S. economy, or the U.S. pay off its debt and interest in a way. But overall, we've been operating in a deficit literally forever. Okay? And that number keeps rising. It seems like it's rising more and more and faster every single year. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Going all the way back to 1997, right? When the debt ceiling was much lower. And you can see how over the years it's been going up. But look at how much it went up in 2021, right? To nearly 29 trillion. But even then, that's not enough. Sorry, that's a little small. I mean, I can't zoom in. I can't zoom in on that. But it wasn't that long ago, December 14 of 2021, when we actually raised it to 31.4 trillion. Okay, before that, it was 28.4 trillion. So we had to raise it by 2.5 trillion. And that was December of 2021. We barely made it in 2023, and we have hit that ceiling. That 2.5 trillion, not enough. Not enough. Okay? And what happens if we don't raise the debt ceiling? Well, that means the U.S. technically has run out of money, can't operate. So then Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will have to decide which programs she can't pay. Okay, programs meaning the military, Social Security, debt interest on the existing debt, and many other things that operate in the U.S. So then she's going to have to start cutting. Okay? She has to start cutting until they somehow get this resolved. Okay? And if they don't raise the debt ceiling, then it's very unlikely they're going to get this resolved because there's no more money. Essentially, the U.S. becomes bankrupt, right? And what makes this worse is because the U.S. bond rating, right? The U.S. has issued countless bonds that other countries have bought, and they continue to buy U.S. bonds because it's basically guaranteed. It's a AAA bond, right? Meaning that no one expects the U.S. never, ever, ever to not be able to pay back the bonds or the interest on the bonds. That's why other countries continue to buy. But if the U.S. all of a sudden runs out of money and says, well, we're not going to pay those interests anymore, or we're going to delay those interests, right? Well, then the rating gets cut. It's no longer AAA. Then it goes to AA or single A or B. I don't even know if there's a B bond. I'm sure there is. And if that happens, well, then every country out there on earth will stop buying U.S. bonds. And that's when the USD fails as a global currency, as the reserve currency. And then we go on into this, we start the slippery slope, okay? We start snowballing to Armageddon, basically, okay? This is why this has never, ever happened before in the U.S., because we don't want that to happen. The U.S. definitely wants to reserve its reserve currency, which is the USD, wants to have that AAA bond so that they can continue to issue more and more bonds as the U.S. gets more and more in debt, because that's the only way to operate. If you don't have enough money, what do? You issue more bonds and promise that you're going to give that interest and the money back in the future. And then you just repeat, and so, you just keep going. Right? You just keep going. It's an endless cycle. And if you think this is unsustainable, well, you're not alone. You're not alone. This is why so many people have said, well, this can't be right. This can't be sustainable. This sounds like a Ponzi scheme. This sounds like you're just creating money when you need it. Using our money printer, that's the Federal Reserve, you could print money to try and issue more bonds, which is IOUs, right, to try to cover the national debt. But unfortunately, the debt continues to go up because we spend more than we earn every single year. So how is that not a Ponzi? Because that's what it is. A Ponzi is an unsustainable system where you don't have enough, so you have to get money from the outside to sustain the interest that you promised to pay, right? Which in this case is the interest on the debt, which is interest on what we're borrowing, right? And if somehow we can't get more money in, well, then the whole system collapses, right? So absolutely disastrous if it happens. But here's the good thing, okay? I don't think anyone in Congress wants that to happen. I don't think that President Biden wants to happen. I don't think the new House Speaker wants that to happen. I don't think anyone in Congress wants that to happen because, again, no one wants to be in Armageddon. So most likely, I would say 100%, not even most likely, 100%, they will get this resolved. They will increase the debt ceiling again tomorrow, just like they did last time in 2021 when it was pressed against like the last day, and then they agreed and then they raised the ceiling. So most likely it will happen again because, again, no one wants to be in Armageddon, right? But how does this relate to Bitcoiners? Well, this is why we buy Bitcoin. This is why so many are opting out because, like I just said, this is one gigantic Ponzi scheme that is unsustainable, right? And if you want to opt out of this, you want to get into something that can't be inflated infinitely forever, right? Something that the U.S. government has control, something that no country controls, that can't be artificially inflated. You can't apply monetary policy to it, right? It is set by code. It was created for people because distrust in banks and the current financial systems that we have today, right? So this is a clear example, right, of why everyone should be getting involved with Bitcoin and opting out. I'm explaining the US, but anyone out there watching, it doesn't matter if you're from UK or China or anywhere else, basically every modern country, every society operates the same way. You have some central bank, right, that's issuing bonds because they need to borrow money because the country is operating a deficit. They spend more than they earn, right? And it's an endless cycle. And that's why every fiat currency around the world is debasing and basically getting less valuable over time because more money needs to be printed in order to cover the excess spending, basically, right? So, yeah. Okay, anyways. Just want to explain all that, right? Of course, that relates to inflation, right? We're making such good progress on inflation right now. We're seeing CPI numbers, everything showing that we're heading down once again, but not if the money printer needs to be spun up again so that so that we have to print more USD and put more trillions into circulation. That would defeat the purpose of everything that the Fed has done, and we'll have to go through it again, right? So the Fed Board of Governors, at least some outside of Powell, thinks that we need to continue to raise rates and be aggressive, at least to get to the 5% Fed fund rate, which right now is at 4.25 roughly, right? So that means there's 75 basis points to go. So that means this next one that we're going to have in February could still be 50 basis points, and then the one after that being 25 basis points, right? But if we get some great economic data which shows that the economy is slowing down faster than anticipated, well, then maybe that would change to 25 basis points and then 0 basis points, or 25, something like that, right? But there are still many that believes that they need to continue on the same path, same course to get up to 5%. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out, right? We don't have much time before that happens. All right, so that's number one. That's the biggest FUD that I want to cover that's ongoing right now. I do believe this will be resolved tomorrow, but a lot of people are talking about it, and I just want to explain the whole situation as best as I could. I'm not an expert at this. I'm still learning, but basically that's the gist of it. Okay, that's the gist of it. You know, we can't really trust. We can't really trust the system that's in place, because if you just if you explain it to like an 8-year-old, right? Just explain it to a child. They will say, well, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like this could go on forever, right? And so many economists have said this too, but somehow we continue to go on the same path and there seems to be no change whatsoever. So when will this whole bubble collapse? It will someday. Hopefully not today, hopefully not tomorrow, hopefully not within our lifetimes. But at some point, this will all come crashing down. All right, so that's why we need Bitcoin. All right, so moving on from there, what's the second FUD of the day? Well, the Justice Department all of a sudden decided to have a press conference, and they said they were going to charge someone with something, right? And everyone thought maybe they're going to charge Coinbase or go charge Binance or charge someone big, right? It turns out they're charging this Bitzlato with $700 million. No one on earth have heard of this exchange. No one knows who it is. No one has ever heard of it. But the U.S. Justice Department made it such a big deal. I think it scared a lot of people, thinking that this was going to be some kind of huge thing. But no. So basically, it's an unknown exchange tied to illicit Russian finances, and they have arrested the founder and made a big press report. A whole lot of FUD about nothing. Okay, so that's the second FUD that spooked the market today. So we had well, we still have this debt default thing, and then we had this, and then, you know, the U.S. market also went down today pretty significantly, minus 600. So those three things, you know, kind of ruined the mood, so to speak. But you know what? Looking at Bitcoin, it's below 21,000. Yeah, this morning we actually pumped to 21.6. But you know, all things considering, all this doom and gloom and Armageddon right around the corner, we're at 20,700, which is way better than 16,000 we were at just 2 weeks ago. So I say we're in pretty good shape right now. And plus, I did mention over the last week that the short-term indicators like the RSI on a daily was super high. It needed to come down. We technically were overbought situation, right? So we needed at some point to cool off a little bit. And I think that plays into it too. It's just part of the consolidation process. I said I would have no problem with, right? It's actually pretty healthy. But there is other FUD that we should worry about, I guess. Genesis apparently could be going bankrupt soon. Okay, so there's some kind of negotiation that's going on, and or I guess negotiations have stalled, and now there's talks about CoinDesk, okay, the biggest media outlet for Bitcoin. They're tapping bankers for potential sale because CoinDesk is roughly valued at $1 billion. I have a hard time believing that, but last time it was evaluated, I think it's around $1 billion. CoinDesk is owned by DCG, who also owns Genesis, who also owns Grayscale. So DCG hot waters right now because Genesis has like a 1.7 billion hole they need to patch. And, you know, they have this thing going on with the Gemini, right? With Gemini accuses DCG of negligence and swashing people's, you know, money around, right? And unfortunately, both Genesis and Gemini has been charged by the SEC, and they're investigating right now. But this whole thing may be heading towards bankruptcy. Hopefully not. It could happen because this is just one arm of DCG. So many people are thinking, well, will this bring down DCG? I don't think so, but, you know, we just don't know how convoluted this whole thing is. If Genesis is going to go under, then unfortunately they will follow the same path as BlockFi, Voyager, and Celsius, right? All the lending companies have basically went under due to their non-risk tolerance, I guess, or due to no risk tolerance because they all gave uncollateralized loans to ITrustCapital, which collapsed because of Luna. So it's all tied together. But DCG themselves have a lot of assets, including CoinDesk. Just by selling CoinDesk, they could recover $1 billion, which they could use to plug the hole. So there's a chance, and maybe they find some funding from somewhere else. So there's a chance of that too. So I don't think DCG is going to go under, but Genesis certainly could go into bankruptcy. And it could get ugly because the SEC is already looking at Genesis and Gemini and their relationship right now. So I would say there's some FUD there, warranted FUD there. Okay, and I guess we'll see what happens. And DCG also owns other assets, not just Grayscale. There's rumors about possibly Grayscale needing to sell Bitcoin or something else. I don't think it has come to that. There's other things that DCG owns that they could use to put up to plug that hole. So I guess we'll wait and see. Okay, what about some good news? Okay, this is all doom and gloom. I know. I started with all gloomy stuff. What about some good news? Well, the state of Texas, don't mess with Texas, lays down proposal to allow Bitcoin as an authorized state investment. What does that mean? That means that Texas is looking to buy Bitcoin and put it on their balance sheet. That's what it means. Well, why not? Texas is so pro Bitcoin miners, right? They're saying, hey, everyone come in and mine Bitcoin. It actually helped them improve their power grid by a significant amount because they had to upgrade and things have gotten a whole lot better. They even said that, right? So why not? If they're so pro Bitcoin, why not buy Bitcoin itself? So they're trying to get that going, right? And that could be absolutely huge. So why not? Why not? Good. And I'm sure they're not the only state evaluating this. I'm sure other states are evaluating this as well. Why would you not want to buy Bitcoin and put some in your reserves? Elon, again, restates, all of a sudden, replying to Cointelegraph. First of all, he's like, well, this article is accusing Elon for alleged Bitcoin pump and dump, which Elon says totally inaccurate. But he did reiterate that when there's confirmation of reasonable 50% clean energy usage by the miners, Tesla will resume allowing Bitcoin transactions, meaning I think buying Teslas with Bitcoin, right? Which is positive. But, we already have data that shows that Bitcoin mining is already over 50% green energy, right? There's actually a lot of data that shows that. So does that mean Elon is about to open up Bitcoin as a payment source for Teslas? Maybe. So that could be pretty positive too. That could be very positive. And then lastly, the last good news is Jim Cramer. We know, and I cover this. Last time Jim Cramer said, sell your crypto, sell your friends, that was actually a day or two before Bitcoin hit a bottom and started rising up to where we are now. So Jim Cramer may be on the sauce a little too much when he was typing this. The manipulation higher of crypto shows you this is truly a sham market. I think what he's saying is someone is manipulating crypto to go higher, which is why this is all a sham. Who? He doesn't say. And why is it a sham? He doesn't really say other than the price going up, right? So I think what he's saying is you should sell again, right? Which we'll take because inverse Cramer is always right. So if he's saying sell, well, that really means it's time to buy, right? So that's also positive, very positive indeed. What else is positive? Well, outside of Bitcoin, there's also a lot of positive stuff. Polkadot, which a lot of people have been asking me over the last 6 months, like what's going on at Polkadot? I've been saying I don't know, but this is absolutely huge. So they've been working for 15 months on this called XCM version 3. I didn't even know they were on version 2 already, but they have finished this, and this allows Polkadot to enable bridges, cross-chain locking, exchanges, NFTs, conditional, context track, and more. What? That's a whole lot of stuff. This is a completely, basically, new chain. It allows different parallel chains and bridging between different chains so that certain applications can be built across parallel chains. Interesting. So you could build one application and have it operate on different chains within the Polkadot ecosystem. And plus, this will allow bridges, which you can bridge to even Ethereum. You could bridge to Cardano. You could bridge to Bitcoin, right? And of course, this brings on many other things with this cross bridging and so forth. So it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see what this brings. But supposedly, it's already merged. It's already done. So we don't have to, this is not like a prequel to what's coming. This is already done and merged. So we'll just have to see what kind of dApps come aboard Polkadot. And in terms of development, still, going up in the right direction. But for those of you guys that are wondering, Cardano actually leads the development area activity in terms of daily development activity measured within GitHub. Probably the commits, like the updates. Cardano's number 1, Polkadot and Kusama's number 2. Then you have Status. I'm surprised by Status, but Cosmos, Flow, Hedera, Decentralized Ethereum, Filecoin, and I have no idea what Vega Protocol is. But kind of, and if you look at this graph here, Cardano and Polkadot, it's like leading by a ton. especially compared to, say, Ethereum, right? Huge, double, more than double. So a lot of things going on right now. But speaking of Ethereum, you don't want to skip out or overlook Ethereum because Lido, which is one of the biggest liquid staking DeFi projects out there, right? They have a ton of ETH staked because people wanted to take advantage of liquid staking, right? So they have spiked up quite a lot, but mostly due to Ethereum, I would say. But they're not just based on Ethereum, but others. But they're definitely helped by Ethereum. Ethereum also recently became deflationary once again. Not a whole lot of new ETH hitting the markets, and they're working on a Shanghai update, which is coming in a couple months. So there's a lot of good stuff also happening with Ethereum right now. And then lastly, I know you guys love meme coins. Doge, Sheeb, even Bonk. I have not been paying attention to Bonk. Combined for 25 billion in monthly trading volume. So the good thing about meme coins is they bring in users and they bring in activity and volume to this space. And the good thing is some of those users learn and continue to grow and realize that, well, there's others that, I should be researching and buying and holding, right? Not just a meme coin. So they do a really good job of bringing new people into space. Great. All right. That's pretty much it. I said a lot there. I said a lot tonight. I need a drink and I don't have a drink. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right. Let me stay here. Jimmy Doss, they will raise it and spend more of our money instead of reining in their spending. Of course, that is how it's going to work. I don't think. The debt ceiling just keeps going up and up. I don't think we're going to default. I think they're going to raise the ceiling, and it's just unsustainable. I already said this enough. Tired of talking about it, but it will continue. The U.S. debt will continue to go higher and higher and higher and higher, and one day it will come crashing down. Good day. That's what I said. Fake out before breakdown. Feds think money grows on trees. Well, it literally does because they control money printer. The biggest money printer of them all. Crypto Wiki. I saw something like that. It wasn't just Crow saying it. A lot of people, even Tucker Carlson was saying it. A lot of people think that BTC went up because the air traffic controllers had to buy Bitcoin or something. No, I think that's complete nonsense. They had to buy billions upon billions to even uptick a little bit. So no, I don't think that's the case. Did you see SBF's tweet today? Says FTX completely solvent. I saw him say that about FTX.us. I don't know about the entire thing, but yeah. He's bored. He's bored out of his mind at home. ADA is going to be big, and most people are sleeping on it. I think it's already big. It's in the top 10. Like, how big are you expecting it to be? I'm still scrolling here. Who do you think will own Grayscale, DCG, or New Buy? I don't think DCG is gonna sell them. It's too valuable. They know that. You have 600,000 Bitcoins. Why would you transfer that to someone else? You wouldn't be selling at its full potential right now, right? You sell it to someone else, Bitcoin goes to 200,000, you just lost 10x, right? So I don't think DCG is going to sell Grayscale, or at least Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They will try their hardest to sell everything else because it would just be stupid to do so. Did you hear about Bank of America's glitch? No, I did not. Hey, George, I have 10K in Gemini Earn. You said they cover about 10 billion for FTX. Do you think there's a chance I'll get my money returned? Anonymous, I don't know if you're confused, but Gemini Earn has nothing to do with FTX. Gemini Earn is from Genesis, and they're the ones that I just covered having that 1.7 billion hole they have to patch. So there's a chance that you're going to get some of it back, I'm sure, but that has nothing to do with FTX. And just because FTX is going to recover 10 billion doesn't mean that they're going to make a hold too, because now they're trying to figure out how much is actually owed to all the creditors, which could be more than 10 billion. JCB, thank you. Lazaro, once tomorrow they raise, you think we'll pump back up? Probably. I think tomorrow be a big old nothing burger, and then we could definitely see some movement again. Bank of America had a Zelle problem. Interesting. Was it really an issue, or they just decided to keep all that money? I don't know. All right, today is DCA Wednesday. Yes, I remember. I pulled it up. Look at this. We're only at negative 40. I think last week was negative 45%. We jumped up a good 5% within a week. So we're definitely on our way upwards, and that's why we continue to DCA. For this week, I really don't know. Ooh. I have not thought about it, but Bitcoin for sure has had a really good week. Actually outperformed a lot of, I don't think I have CMC open. Has outperformed a lot of alts, right? So you look at the last 7 days, Bitcoin's up 14%, Ethereum only 9%, right? And a lot of these are only, barely up. Solana had a big week, but you could see Bitcoin definitely had a good week. Bitcoin Dominance up a little bit. So, you know what, this week, I think I'm just going, I haven't DCA'd into Bitcoin for a while. I'm just going with, you know what? No, I changed my mind. I'm going to split up. I am going to DCA into Bitcoin, but, something that I've been talking a lot about, how people have been paying attention, there's a few categories of assets that are making moves, right? We have DeFi that's going up. We have metaverses going up. And we also have AI going up. So I do have some metaverse plays right now. I don't have a lot of DeFi plays because I like L1s, L2s better. So, I might, for fun, just throw in a little bit of AI. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put most of it in Bitcoin. I'm going to put like 75% of it. So that's $75 worth. And today's price is much higher than before. So divide by 798. So that's only 0.0036. All right, and then, you know what? I'm going to put $25, very little amount, into something like, I've been looking up a little bit. How do I add a regular transaction here? I'll add a transaction. I'm going to throw some into Fetch AI. I looked them up a little bit. I need to do more research, but they do sound like they have potential there. So I'm going to do $25 into them. And we'll see. It's my speculative play. Very little compared to the overall, you know, the whole portfolio. But, yeah, for those of you guys that aren't familiar with this, I've been doing this since July of 2021. Yeah, July of 2021. So it's almost 2 years now. And I know 2022 has wiped out all the gains because this was up way in the green, of course, in 2021. But doesn't matter. That's why you do DCA. You take the guessing out of it, stick with the schedule, and then you put the same amount, and then you just let it ride, right? So negative 40%, definitely better than a negative 50 like 2% that we got down to. We'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes. Where's CMC? There you go. Unfortunately, we just crossed a trillion this morning. And now we're down to 966, but we'll come back. We'll come back. Let's see if I missed anything. I've seen some are concerned about volume not being there, support another bull. Thoughts, volume comes and goes. Okay. So I've seen charts. I showed one yesterday. Volume is picking up. It's not skyrocketing. It's not like everyone's coming in the space. If everyone that got out got in, we would be back to 70,000, right? So obviously volume is still lower because, well, there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of FUD out there. People are very cautious, and that's okay. This is not the time to be going all in right now, right? You still want to be holding on a good amount of cash. I've always said 20, 25, 30% cash, right? DCA is still the way to go. Can we have more volatility? Yes, I've been saying that. We could have more volatility. We have come up quite a lot within the last 2 weeks, right? Can we slide a little down? Yes. But I do think we're in recovery mode. Volume will pick up as we go higher. You can't measure the volume now versus like peak of 2021. Of course, it's not going to be as high. It's going to be lower. Let's see here. Oh, did I spell disaster wrong? I apologize. I rushed that. I can fix it right now. There, changed. All right, let's see, what else? SP retracted his super chat. Okay. Add hello. No, never heard of that project. I don't know what it is. I can't comment on it. You mentioned ODA last week. They're going parabolic today. Any news? Did I mention ODA last week? What? No, I didn't. Stuart, I don't put you in timeout for lying. You see Australia is coming out with a stable coin? No, but it would not surprise me. A lot of countries are coming out there on stable coins. They feel threatened by CBDCs. I mean, they feel threatened by stable coins, so they're coming out with CBDCs, right? So it makes sense. CBDCs give the central banks even more power because now they could track everything, right? It's hard to track cash. Yes, you could track, transactions between various systems, but it takes time. And plus, if you actually conduct transactions with real paper money, it's impossible to track, right? But with CBDCs, everything's on a ledger, and you can't do anything with it. And it's all transparent, immutable, right? And that's what they want. They want to track everything. That's why they're all in a rush to come out with them. Corey, what about my dream? What do you think it means? I don't know. I have no idea. DCA step, bro. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Flash Gordon, do you think Solana's going to keep pumping? Do I think it's going to recover more? Yes. Yes, I do think so. I think the last 2 weeks proved that there are still a lot of people that believe in Solana, and that's why it recovered significantly. Are the Feds going to start pausing some benefits as soon as tomorrow? No. The U.S. is going to raise its debt ceiling. Just like they did in 2021, just like they did previously. Okay? Yes, the government spends more than it makes. It has been like that forever. Okay? And that's not going to change anytime soon. And that is why the national debt is at $29 trillion and rising exponentially. And that's not going to change, right? And that means inflation will continue on. It'll be rampant. Your buying power will decrease exponentially over time. And that is why if you don't buy an asset that can outperform inflation, well, then you're just seeing your money burn right in front of you. Look at what has happened in Venezuela or Turkey or any other country that suffers from hyperinflation. Their money is worthless, absolutely worthless. So you see those streets covered with paper money, right? That's what you want to avoid. That's why you want to buy assets that appreciate, that beats inflation. And nothing has outperformed Bitcoin in the last 10 years, and it's not even close. Fact. All right, guys. I'll let you go. I'll let you sleep on this number that is increasing every second. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. SP, thank you. We'll see if the debt ceiling gets raised. I do believe so. I'm certain it will, because if it doesn't get raised, the U.S. will become bankrupt. They're going to have to start cutting programs, start cutting a lot of things, and not being able to pay back debt on or paying back interest on debt, which will crash the U.S. bond rating, which will crash the U.S. economy. So I don't think anyone wants that to happen, but we'll see. We'll see. Tune in tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll check out the market together. All right? Stay strong, my friends, and have a good night. Bye-bye.